Welcome back to the show. Well, school students from non-English speaking backgrounds are doing much better than Australian-born students, and that's according to the latest NAPLAN results. Time now for the Mixed Grill with Shelly Horton and Ross Greenwood. Good morning to you guys.
Morning.
Ross, should we be surprised by these results?
Not surprised. The real problem here, I think, with these results is you can really very quickly get into stereotypes. In other words, that, young kids coming in from overseas with parents are pushing them harder, that they're expecting more of them. The truth is also, it's where this desire comes from. They quite clearly do not do as well in the actual verbal skills, because obviously they're still learning the language and so forth, but in their written skills and their understanding, they are doing better, and in mathematics. So the question is not so much why they're doing better, it's what happens with the desire of the second and third, fourth generations. Is it a case whereby things are okay, just keep on going, enjoy the schooling? Are we actually pushing students hard enough? Because what's quite clear right now in Australia is our standards have slipped compared with those overseas. Yes. And having had experience of a young kid who's gone through his first formative years of school in the UK compared with here, I can tell you that certainly there is no doubt that we put less emphasis on the academic side of things here in Australia as compared with places overseas.
And you're right on the mathematics issue. And in terms of the future, Shelley, that's where it's all happening. That's where we've got to go ahead in leaps and bounds if we want to keep up with the rest of the world.
We need to be teaching coding and things like that. That's what we need to be teaching.
Is this classic she'll be right, mate?
I'm kind of disagreeing with Ross in that I don't think it's that migrant families push their kids more. I want to take a more positive spin and go, they're more grateful. They know the country they've come from, and they know how hard they've fought to come and live in this country and how grateful they are to be here. And I think maybe Aussies are a bit, she'll be right, they're not as grateful. So maybe that does come across in their studies as well, and maybe we need to push our kids a little bit harder.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on and to some more statistics which you may both find surprising and fairly worrying. It's been revealed that 17% of women would not turn up for a job interview if they were unhappy with their appearance that morning, and more than 10,000 women every day are typing in "Am I ugly?" into Google. Isn't that frightening?
Can I just ask both of you, have you ever typed that into Google?
No, but I've said it into the mirror. 100%. I think it's a very common thing for women.
Really?
It makes me want to cry. I hate to think that these girls feel like that. Yeah. I hate knowing that women hold themselves back, like not going to a job interview because you're not feeling pretty enough. I think that this is something that if we can get on top of female body image and self-worth, then we can run the world. I mean, at the moment, we're holding ourselves back. I don't think it's got anything to do with men. I think it's women who are doing it to women and women who are doing it to themselves, and it starts when they're young girls.
Lisa, you've been a role model to young women in this country since you were a very young woman, since you were 20 or so, right? You've actually put all these issues out there for women over that period of time. You front up here every single day, regardless of how you feel. You look great, sure, but sometimes you don't feel great, and everybody understands that. That's just human nature, right? The way it is. Why do you turn up here every day, even though you might not be feeling your best?
Well, because I love my job, and I'm incredibly fortunate that Channel 9 pays for beautiful hair and makeup fairies who work on me for 10 hours.
And you're overestimating it as well. But here's the fact of the matter. We all look in the mirror from time to time and go, yeah, am I happy with what I'm saying?
I just don't think men do. I disagree completely. Like my ex-husband, who was quite overweight, I had the argument with him because I was having some body image issues, and I said, well, when you look in the mirror, what do you see? And he's like, a champion, handsome man who deserves a gold medal for being funny. Yeah. And I'm like, that is what we need, people. We need
more
that.
Of that self-esteem.
I'm not 100% so. I reckon, particularly younger men in particular, I think they're looking in the mirror or in their phone more often these days and looking at themselves. And I think they're becoming...
And young boys are getting the same issues, and that is the problem. We do have to go, though. Coming up, dodgy diets. We're going to name and shame the worst celebrity weight loss. Welcome back to the Mixed Grill with Shelly Horton and Ross Greenwood. Now, global icon Madonna has delivered a powerful acceptance speech at the Woman of the Year Awards, speaking out against sexism and misogyny in the entertainment industry. Have a look.
I stand before you as a doormat. Oh, I mean a female entertainer. Yeah. Thank you for acknowledging my ability to continue my career for 34 years in the face of blatant misogyny, sexism, constant bullying, and relentless abuse.
Yeah, Shelley, she goes on to say, if you're a girl, you have to play the game. You're allowed to be pretty and cute and sexy, but don't act too smart. What do you think?
I think she's amazing. And I think it's true. She is living proof of everything that she's said. Every time that she's been a bit controversial, it's had to do with her owning her sexuality, or it's had to do with her doing something that a man would do. So I actually think that she's brilliant. There are many times where I don't agree with her, or I don't particularly like her music, but you know what? I love her for what she stands for, and I think that this was, in fact, a very powerful speech from what is considered an older woman in the entertainment industry, and we need to pay respect to that.
Ross, do you reckon she's part of the problem or part of the solution?
No, she's part of the solution, there's no doubt. And I'm with you. There have been things where she's done things in her life, you know, family things where I just go, seriously, you've got to get a grip. But the fact of the matter is that Madonna has always been at that cutting edge. And one of the things that she says in this speech is she says, whatever you do, don't age. Now, the point is, if you look at all of the touring bands right now that are coming out, all the old historic bands, they're all blokes.
They're all blokes.
All of them are
Wrinkly
blokes. Yeah. So then that's okay. That's no problems. But you want to see female performers, experienced female performers coming out there as well in the same way and being revered in that same way as well. There's no doubt. This is, you know, right across our life. You've got to see and respect both men and women as they age.
So everybody still loves Mick Jagger at 73,
Yep.
just had another
Another child.
Are we
Dear
going to
Lord.
be happy to see Madonna still in the leathers and the fishnets
Well,
at
the
80?
thing is, she's going to have so much Botox and filler that she's not going to have those wrinkles, you know, and that's her choice, and I support her for it.
The answer is yes, you should be happy to see her in whichever way she dresses, because you've got to cut those barriers all the way through to the very end.
OK, let's leave the best till last. In a surprise admission, former Prime Minister Tony Abbott has admitted reading the erotic thriller 50 Shades of Grey, but he said he didn't enjoy it all that much.
He's
Shelley?
lying. He's lying. I read all
What's
three.
wrong with that?
Are
I
you
think that's
kidding
fine.
me?
What's wrong with that?
I love it. No,
Yeah,
I
what's
love
wrong?
it. And honestly, I read it all with one hand on the book and one hand free. That's what that book was all about. And you can't say, oh, it was poorly written, because that's like saying, oh, I didn't like that porno because it was directed badly. It had a purpose. It served a purpose. I'm amazed
What
that
was
Tony
his purpose?
Abbott...
It was
that's right.
shocking writing.
It was fine.
The
It was
movie
fine.
had the
It was
worst
about
acting.
exploring
It had no
sexuality.
proper
The
plot.
movie I tried
The
to
guy
get...
was a complete misogynist.
That's right.
He had a
But
complete
you can
controlling
have a
issue over
fantasy life.
domestic violence on steroids.
Fantasy life. That's what it was. It wasn't reality. It was a fantasy. And you can have female fantasies that you don't want to have in real life. They're okay to be in a book.
I think it was a very dangerous movie, just quietly, Ross.
I think so as well. Can I quote you something? I wasn't naturally devout, at least not in the way necessary to sustain the life of a priest. Not consoled by heartfelt prayer, I couldn't imagine being celibate for the rest of my life. Quote Tony Abbott from his own book. He's an author. Battle lines.
There you go.
So I think it's all right for our politicians to read whatever they like broadly. And as I say, he didn't like the book so much, but at least he was keeping up with modern and contemporary society and not living back in the 1960s.
See, Malcolm Turnbull, if you don't put him on the front bench, that's what's going to happen.
That's a good line.
Thanks, Shelley. Thanks, Ross. Coming up, tragedy for a Melbourne family.